periodically in human history, there comes a tide, a rolling force of ideas and momentum that changes the future of humanity as we know it. That tide today has not come from Matt or Mike because they didn't finish the book today on the Manspace.
I did.
Matt did, just I didn't.
Welcome to the Manspace Podcast. We're your hosts, Doctors Matt Brown and Rob Porter, and clinical therapist Mike Porter. Welcome, spacemen.
Matt just couldn't buy into any of the book because he's read the updated version.
The best part was your tone. Hey, I did. Sounded like Jerry Seinfeld. Hey.
Oh, man. The funny thing is, I realized as I was listening to this book on the way in this morning that I've spent so much time listening to Malcolm Gladwell's podcast that most books, I struggle to kind of retain the information if I just do the audio, or at least I feel like I do. With his, I think I'm so used to listening to his delivery that I'm like, oh, I should have been doing this the whole time and not trying to read the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was where I was like, oh, crap. But then I also thought, I was like, oh, if I'd known it was going to take us this long to get to the book, I would have done like a Christmas Carol for our book.
Oh, yeah.
That was going to be my suggestion, but
it'll be January by the time we get to it. Yeah.
Well, and it is not one to be dissected. It's sacred.
Yeah. I freaking love that book.
It's funny when I actually read A Christmas Carol, I remember thinking there's some, what was it? It was like that weird animated Jim Carrey Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That when I read the book, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty accurate to the book. Like when they described the ghosts of Christmas past, was it? That I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of how he describes it in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you just gotta get past the creepy dead eyes in that.
I saw it was some list of like the most faithful and like accurate adaptations of A Christmas Carol, and the one that we grew up on, the George C. Scott one.
Scott's the best.
I love that one, man. Ranked 8th.
What?
Yeah. Like it's apparently like they're like it's brilliantly acted and well done, and they're like, but as far as like faithfulness of an adaptation, like it does not rate very high. You want to know what number 2 on the list was?
Mickey's
Muppets.
Christmas Carol.
It was A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah. You know why?
Seriously?
It's
Dude,
Marley.
that has like a whole
Marley.
sign.
Oh.
That was one of the things they pointed out that was not accurate.
I was gonna say I want to see this listicle because I totally disagree.
Where's the Jim Carrey one fall?
Like 6 or something like that. Not very high.
I feel like it was really accurate, but what do I know? Boy, this is
well. It was accuracy. I think it was 2 things. It was accuracy combined with something else, but I clicked on it for the accuracy part. I can't remember now what the second one was, but I'll find it and send it to you guys. But if I'm remembering right, yeah, like the George C. Scott was 8. I think the Jim Carrey was 6.
That's funny because I feel like the dialogue in the
2.
George C. Scott, like as I'm listening to it this time, I'm like, there's
Yeah,
straight
pull a
direct
lot of
quotes multiple times.
Which was one of the that was one of the things it was praised for. Like it was praised for like using kind of a lot, which was actually one of the things that they pointed out about the Muppet Christmas Carol, because they have Gonzo as Dickens, and they're like, it allows them to have a narrator where most of the other ones don't, and so they're able to use a lot of his actual prose as opposed to the rest where they have to try and incorporate it through the dialogue. But he's able to say some of the things like, he's a tight-fisted hand to the grindstone kind of guy, like stuff like that nowhere, like none of the other ones are able to do it, but that one does.
That's true.
Well, I'm looking at a
well,
different
no, it doesn't.
Gonzo.
I was going to say there's a narrator in
George C. Scott. There's the beginning at the end, but he doesn't run throughout.
Yeah.
Plus Gonzo. I know the story like the back of my hand. Prove it. Purple.
There's
got some.
Got a mole here.
Not
There's
your hand, the story.
There's I'm looking at a different list apparently than you did, because this has all these interesting graphs that I have to read more into this website. But it actually list number one was Patrick Stewart's Hallmark version.
Yeah.
And
that one was high on my list, but not.
Number two was actually the Jim Carrey version.
Yeah, that's a different list. No, the one that ranked number one on mine was the 1950s. I think it was like 1951. Titled Scrooge.
That's number 4 on mine. Number 3 is actually the George C. Scott one. Anyway, I don't know if you guys have just forgotten. I just forgot that we're actually recording already.
Yeah. Jump in.
Today we're
us.
talking. I don't know. I don't know exactly where I'm going to tip with this. I've wondered about this. I mean, I've listened to this book either 2 or I think this is 3 times now that I've listened to it. Maybe just 2. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Mike, you wanted to do this book because you wanted something a little more hopeful, positive, right?
Yeah. That's how come it took me so long to find something, because I was trying to find something that was just kind of hope-filled. I never really found anything, but I like the way Malcolm Gladwell thinks. And generally when I listen to like his podcast, I will often find myself just kind of reflecting on things because he challenges my thinking in a way. But I don't, even when he's talking about, there were a couple of times, there was a couple episodes during a stretch where I found myself frustrated because it just kind of made me feel not hopeful for the like current direction of society. But generally for him, like the way he presents things, I'm just like, okay, like cool. And I just found myself looking. And so it was more that I had the book and I was like, sure, why not? I already have this book and I haven't read it yet.
Well,
which is still true.
Don't read Revenge of the Tipping Point. It's a little less hopeful. And apparently Matt thinks the Tipping Point is dumb now because Revenge of the Tipping Point ruined it for him.
It wasn't that it was dumb. It was just more like it's hard to read something that was written years before, like 25 years before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have his voice in my head from all of his like conclusions of where, like you said before, he's very good at saying, I was wrong and this is what I know now.
This is how I was wrong.
So
yeah.
It was kind of like hard to hear some of the like certainty and conviction of 25 years ago without that
voice of no, this was actually wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about it is, there are some things I think I mentioned maybe a few episodes back. One of my favorite parts of the book is when he talks about the study they did about nodding your head or shaking your head.
Mm-hmm.
Just to briefly cover that in case I didn't mention in a previous episode, but the nodding, the idea that they had these at a university, they had someone get up and make an argument for raising tuition. And they had a third of the audience nod their head while the person spoke. They had a third of the audience shake their head. And then they had a third of the audience do nothing. And that the audience members who were nodding their head agreed tuition should go up. Audience members who did nothing felt like tuition should stay the same. And audience members who shook their head felt like tuition should go down.
So can I clarify this real quick?
Yeah.
Because this is the part that I was like last night and this morning was listening to.
Uh-huh.
And so they actually told them they wanted them to test headphones.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And so gave them all headphones and had them listen to different music and kind of do different things, dance and whatever while they were listening to the music. And then when it got to this like persuasive argument that was given, half of them were told to just hold their heads neutral, half to nod their heads as they listened, and half to shake their heads no.
Mm-hmm.
And without fail, those who listened like, neutrally without doing any movement found that they thought tuition was good where it was. People who were nodding their heads yes felt like it should raise up even though it was going to cost them more money. and those who were shaking their heads no felt like it needed to decrease.
Yeah.
And it was like he highlights the idea of, like even like they didn't even realize that that's what they were doing.
Right.
They thought they were testing headphones.
Right. So it's,
but just that power of,
the power of like, I think it's fascinating. A couple reasons why. One was the power of like, even nonverbals, like the way our body will respond to things.
Yeah.
And what that does to our brain. But also, I've talked with people about this. It's like, you're probably going to get out of something what you're looking for. Like if you go into something thinking it sucks, you're going to probably find that it sucks. It's like that old kind of, we'll call it a parable, where someone moves into town and they're like, hey, I'm new in town. What's this place like? And they're like, well, what was your last town like? It's like, oh, it sucked. Everyone was jerks and they were mean and no one wanted to get to friends. And the guy's like, yeah, this town's about the same. And then another guy comes up, he's like, hey, I'm new in town. And he's like, what's it like? What was your last town like? Oh, everyone was so friendly and everyone got along and it got, pitched in and it just felt really connected. And the guy's like, yeah, it's about the same here. And basically it's just like, you're going to get out of this what you want to get out of this. Like you'll act differently because of what you're expecting or anticipating. What's interesting about what you're highlighting there, Mike, is that it's like, it can even happen without us knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I think it matters to pay attention to this sort of thing. Like I was thinking about as I listened through the tipping point, I actually kind of wondered too, because he talks about, and I'm gonna forget these things, that there's the Maven, the salesman,
the salesman, and the connector,
and the salesman.
Yeah. And I was just kind of thinking,
Maven everywhere. By the way,
oh yeah,
really,
like a couple different businesses around here, like Mavens and something. I'm like, whoa, well, now I know what that means.
I will say it's interesting too to think about when you read the Revenge of the Tipping Point, to find out, and even at the end of Tipping Point, to find out how impactful this book was for people. Like everyone started listening to it, using it. Mike, not to spoil anything, but at the end he'll talk about how like someone went and bought a whole bunch and made sure that there was one in every library or something in like Maine or something, or New Hampshire. Just kind of some interesting, like it was a very impactful book culturally at a time when I didn't have any clue who Malcolm Gladwell was. And I'm surprised actually how many people still don't know who he is. When I'm like, Malcolm Gladwell, they're like, huh? I'm like, come on, guys.
No, but they know. I find this book in Outliers.
I will say, they'll be like, no, and I'll say, do you know this point? And they'll be like, Tipping Point, they'll say no. And I'll say, do you know Outliers? They'll be like, oh yeah, I think I know that one. They're like 10,000 hour rule. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he write Blink before?
I think.
Yes.
I don't remember the order. I can have my order. I have them over on the bookshelf.
Anyway.
Let me look and see.
I was going to say, I thought Blink came before Outliers.
Yeah.
Tipping Point is his first book.
Yeah. But those, I guess I'm curious too about this first, the Maven salesman connector. Do you guys know any of those people in your life?
Dude, I immediately thought of, where is it? Thought of Steve.
I was going to say Steve to me is a
connectors.
He's a connector. Yeah. He knows how to bring people to get beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily the guy who has all the information, but he knows the people who do.
It's like the guy in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm the idea guy. I'm the plan guy. I don't have any skills. I'm just the connector.
No, it's funny because I was listening to that. Like I remember thinking, like, I want to be a connector.
Yeah, that's.
But then as he, and there, I think there are times, like not anywhere near the level he's talking about, but certainly I can think of people that I've connected and they've become like really great close friends. Mm-hmm. And years later they're still friends. I don't really talk to them anymore, but I'm the thing they have in common.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting though, because these. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, I could think of a couple of people that I thought, oh, I could see them as being connectors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking that each of us can be in some ways. Like like what you're saying, Mike, like I could be the connector between these two people. But there's like when I thought the same thing you did, Matt, about Steve, it's like that guy seems to be a connector.
Just connects people.
Yeah, like he always know. If I said, "Hey, do you know somebody who does this?" He'd be like, "Yes, here's these people that you'd want to talk to," and he knows how to bring them together and get them to do stuff. And so I could say, yeah, I brought people together, but not in the same way that a connector would.
That's like led to something on a larger scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're lonely positions though, man. When I think about it,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's awesome because they do create big change and big movement, but I don't know, maybe they don't feel lonely, but
well, it's funny. He talked about that guy Horchall or something. I don't know. The guy that he's
I know what you're talking about. It was right around the same time as the
drawl
UT guy.
No, that guy was one of the Mavens. This was a connector. And he said, you sit next to this guy and he goes, you'll be laughing by the time that you start to taxi. And he goes, and by the time you land, you'll wonder where all the time went because you will have just so much enjoyed this guy. And he talked about, he's like, I really wanted to know him more. And he goes, but I wonder if, like he goes, for him, he was content knowing me as much as he did. And I wondered
capacity for more depth. Yeah.
Right. And I wondered, I wonder if he has people in his life that he does know at a very, like one or two. He may not need as many as other people because he's got such a group, but I still wonder if he's got one or two that he holds at that kind of close level that are just different from the rest.
Yeah, because that whole 150 acquaintance
the
type thing
name.
Like I think of all of us, it is like I think you might be at this point now, Mike, especially with teaching, but like Rob, you and me with like clients over, like I easily know.
Oh yeah,
like the intimate details of 150 people's lives, right?
Yeah.
Or way more than that. But sometimes it's just like mind-boggling to think about how much is in there. Like how many people you're connected to in that way, and but yeah, I do. Was it when you were talking about the Texas guy? I think it must have been the connectors part when he was talking about that, like 7 degrees or 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon and how he actually ranks pretty low.
Yeah.
But this weird obscure actor that nobody's ever heard of is like,
he was like
2.5 degrees or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to just see who's actually the hub of all these social connections.
Yeah, I think it's like when I read books like this, the thing I like about books like this, and I've said this when we did Destiny of the Republic too, is that I don't always like books that tell me, now do this, now do this, now do this. I want books that just make me think differently. Because and that's what, that book Passionate Marriage, when Schnarch does his, like he explains, you might notice I'm not giving homework assignments. I don't tell people what to do. I don't, because it's like, you're going to have to do with this information what you're going to do with it. That's my preferred approach to life and even to therapy. Sometimes clients get frustrated at me that it's like, well, tell us what to do. It's like, I don't know. What do you want to do? What are you going to do with the information in front of you? But what I like about this book, and when I think about the Mavens and connectors and salesmen, it's not that there's a part of me that's like, oh, I'd love to be the guy that people could count on for stuff like that. Like that'd be cool to be a connector like that, or to be a Maven who just knows everything about everything, or, and he can see down the road, this is going to go this way, or to be the salesman who knows how to like pull you in and but then what I like about it is it's like, I'm not that guy. I recognize that for some people, I might be the guy that's like, yeah, Rob introduced me to them and to them and to them, but mostly I'm not the connector. But I like the idea that it gets me thinking, how could I be that a little bit more? Like, how could I, if I want to do that, how do I become a little bit more the kind of guy who's like, well, I want to be counted on that way. So I need to network a little bit more and just kind of remember people's names and make an effort to be like, oh yeah, that guy's good for this or whatever it is. So I like that it makes me think. There's a second part to this about what it makes me think, but I like that it makes me think about how I can improve in small ways without telling me what I have to do to improve.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't want to totally derail your train of thought.
Derail.
Okay, because here's the
because you're
one
wrong.
of the things that stood out to me with this is like you look at the examples he's using, and one like the whole here's names I pulled from the phone book or wherever.
Yeah,
and I thought some of those were so I was like, you could not get more New York than those names.
Yeah, that's too East
like,
Coast for me.
Sweet Justice, dude. Like I haven't even heard half of those names.
Yeah,
there's no way I'm going to know them.
Yeah,
but I thought pull a random sampling of a Texas. Oh, I'm going to score through the roof because I've lived there for 15 years, right? Like, and so there was that thought where I thought, no, some of the things he's talking about have the potential to be more regional than they do. And then it got me thinking about the examples that he was giving. If you really want to illustrate a connector or a maven or a salesman, you're not going to pull some average version of that. You're going to pull the epitome of it. Because you really want people to very quickly identify with, oh, that's the kind of person he's talking about.
Yeah.
My thought was with the three examples he gave, the guy from UT, they're
the extreme versions.
Salesman. I thought, yeah, most people don't know anyone like that.
Yeah.
Most people know someone on a much smaller scale. And so that, like, as you were talking, I thought, yeah, you may be more of these things than you think.
Yeah.
You might be more of a connector than you realize.
Right.
Which isn't to say don't look to try to improve. Like by all means, if you want to, like I could step up there, then great, step up there. Like by all means. But at the same time, I just kind of wonder how much no, he's using a big example because when you write to a large audience, that's what you do. You don't use small examples, you use significant, dramatic examples. But the way it's going to look in real life, no, it's probably going to be a lot less dramatic.
Yeah.
And so maybe you are more of that. And I think there is benefit in saying and looking and saying, oh, where do I do that for people? Like even just running through the list, taking a random sampling of Texas names and running through the list, like he used the example of like, I know this person, this person, this person, this person. And if there's no Jacob A, then there's no this person. And if there's no Jacob A, then there's no this person. He's like, Jacob's at the top of the pyramid. And I thought, right, but what happens if you run that in reverse? Like Jacob A is at the top of his pyramid.
Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell is probably at the top of someone's pyramid.
He's probably.
Well, I know somebody because of Malcolm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think, point. Yeah. So maybe you are the top of a lot of people's pyramid.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even know, which I actually like to say, we probably are more than we think, and that's partly why I say I think we can be connectors for many people.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily. I think you're right. There's extreme cases. He uses the extreme cases, and I've known some people who I felt like were mavens that just seem to
know something about everything.
Yeah, and not just something. Know like everything about everything. And so it's like, go to that guy. He can give you the information. I've known those people, and but I think, whenever I read these books for like the podcast, I try to think through, okay, besides the fact that I love Malcolm Gladwell because of the way he makes me think, even though I know plenty of people who hate him because they think he's just spitting a bunch of liberal baloney, or something like that. I think I like the idea of seeing ways to change and be better, or seeing patterns across any number of types of books or media or whatever. So like he talks in here about the rule of 150. I don't remember that's exactly what it's called, but you guys remember that part? Mike, you may not have made it to that part yet.
But, I didn't make it to that part yet.
but he talks about the Gore Inc. I think it's but the company that makes Gore-Tex, that they have this business model that is, it feels like Michael Easter talked about this in one of his books too, but, or actually maybe the guy who wrote Tribe talks about it. That's another book we should read, but it's a short, easy one. But just the idea that once you reach capacity, like once you tip past 150 people, it becomes no longer like close and connected and starts to become unruly and becomes this big behemoth. And so the Gore company will, I'm probably saying it wrong, but they're like, how do you know when it's time to split off and create a new branch? And he's like, well, we put 150 parking spots in the parking lot, and as soon as people start parking on the grass, it's time to make a new branch. Like, because once you move past the 150, it becomes ineffective. And I think about in church and how it's better to go, if you stay below 150, people still feel a responsibility to engage with each other. They feel a connection to each other. As soon as you start to tip over, it's easy to become just blend in the background. Nobody knows me. It doesn't matter what I do. And so I look at things like that, patterns like that, to think, oh, isn't that interesting to wonder about, okay, well, how does that impact the way I view what's going on in society? Like, how does that impact the way I approach life? Because I can look at this and see, oh, this is a pattern that happens. Like when a company gets too big like this, it becomes chaotic. It becomes unruly and a behemoth. So how do we, in my own life, how do I try to make sure that these things stay intimate, they stay connected, they stay whatever? And that's kind of a bad example because it's not like I need to make sure I only ever have 150 friends. Actually, and this is where maybe Michael Easter talked about our Tribe, I don't know, but the Mennonites do this in Montana. Their colonies, their communities are only ever 150. Once they break over that, it's like, hey, go branch off. You guys got to make a new community. And so it's just kind of fascinating to watch these patterns that exist. And there's no take home of like, for me on this topic of like, okay, spacemen, therefore it's just like, I guess in my head, I think when I read this stuff and think about it, it's like, you should be seeing these kinds of patterns, not necessarily the 150, but in the book, like, oh, where do I see this in other places in my life? How does this apply to these places? If you're trying to improve, you're always going to find ways to improve. Kind of like what you're saying, Mike, even if it's like, I don't need to become a connector. Maybe I am a connector. And what does that motivate me to do differently? Or if I want to be a Maven, how do I look for like just becoming a little more knowledgeable so I can help somebody else out or whatever? And now I think I'm kind of ranting, so I'll shut up. But that means you guys have to talk.
Sorry, just got an important text.
I wanted to see. Like Matt's reading something.
I wanted to see how long I could sit before you said something, Rob.
Oh, dude, I got like a 3-second window. You should see me with clients. So what brings you guys in? Well, I'll just go ahead and start talking if you guys aren't going to talk.
Well, we haven't talked about stickiness.
Oh, that's true. Get into it.
So I do like this idea that, like, he talks about like some reasons based on, I guess, faulty understanding of how learning occurs and how psychologists kind of got it wrong a bit with the integration of those principles with media principles, right? With Sesame Street. It's funny to think about it where it's like, you know, all these kind of adult types of situations and conversations and how they didn't want to blend. It's like, I don't want to blur reality for kids by having like humans talking to Muppets.
Yeah.
But then as soon as they did that, it's like, oh, that takes off. And then Blue's Clues, like the repetition.
The repetition part, I think, is important. But
no, I think it made me think a lot about Dr. Alan Reifman.
Oh, yeah. One of the people that Steve connected.
Yeah, and he is like, every time I think of that guy, I just think of him standing behind the projector screen, describing lurking variables and like peeking his head up from behind, and he's like, I'm lurking. But honestly, it's like the Blue's Clues of statistics. Like, that dude taught me more about stats than anybody else. Like, I took the stats class in in my master's program. But then because at my career plans at the time, I took like 6 stats classes in my PhD program, and like his by far was like the most, and it was just basic principles, repetition. Like it's like, I'm going to teach you this and we're going to do it 3 times. Then I'm going to teach you a new principle and we're going to do it once and then come back and do this 3 times. And then we're going to go do this twice and then add another thing and then come back and do all 3. And it was just, at first when I read the syllabus, I'm like, holy crap, we're not going to learn anything. But then I was like, yeah, I totally get it, like down to its core now. And I think sometimes our search for novelty, that's because we just want insight, like doesn't let the learning distill down to the level that he talks about with this stickiness factor. And we can be like high on insight all the time and feel like we're doing the work, like growing and like, having all these unique perspectives on things, but basically be in the exact same place we started.
Right. That I have some clients where I've told them stop reading so many books because it's like overload of insight. Yeah. And I feel like actually, Mike, when we reading this book again, or Mike, when we did Destiny of the Republic, that one, like reading Destiny of the Republic the second time, I was like, oh man, like I'm seeing different patterns in here than I saw before. Like, cause I went back through it again. Or that stickiness thing was just like, clients will always say in my office, oh, you've said this before. Like, why can't I remember that stuff? I'm like, because man, everybody has to hear things over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And the more you do, the more it sinks in a different way each time. And it becomes a deeper, more connected kind of knowledge than it was when you just heard it the first time, which is like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's cool. But what are you going to do with it? Yeah. The stickiness part's like, maybe now you'll do something with it. Just like Muppets, where he's like, I know it like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
I like the idea of giving, I've done this before. I've told somebody like, I want you to just describe, I'm going to give you 20 minutes. We don't actually ever do this, but it's like, it's for the sake of it's like, I want you to just describe your hand to me for the next 20 minutes. Cause it's like, imagine how you would go into these deeper, different kind of places when it's like, okay, what else can I describe? You'd get into metaphorical things. You get into all these things. It's like the more you have to kind of keep going back to something, the more it becomes resonant, not just, ooh, cool. Yes, Mike.
Oh. No, I was actually just thinking, like, as you're talking about, I thought, yeah, there are scars that I can find on my hand.
There's a story.
If I were describing my hand initially, I wouldn't bring up because I'm just so used to seeing them. But 20 minutes, inevitably I would start. And it's like I had a principal who used to say, as teachers would grow frustrated, I think I've said this on here before, as teachers would grow frustrated with repeating themselves to their student. And she goes, I hear you guys ask to the students, like, how many times do I have to say this? And she goes, the answer is apparently one more time. And like just that idea of, like I was talking to someone today and they were just like, I mean, we've said this so many times, they should know. And I was like, yeah, still a kid. They're going to need it one more time.
Yeah. That's why G.I. Joe got it wrong, dude.
That's right.
Repetition
is half the battle.
Yeah, like knowing is half the battle. I'm like, it's 10%.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because it's kind of the difference between like, when teenagers become 20-year-olds and they suddenly feel like they know everything. And in some ways it's like, yeah, you know as much as I do now. The difference is I've repeated that knowledge for 50 years.
Yeah, and have life experience with it.
I know it. Yeah, I know it different than you do. I hold it differently. It resonates with me differently than it does with you. You can know it, but what good is it doing you?
Yeah.
So when clients are always, I think they sometimes get in this mode of like, hey, what's the next thing? I'm like, how about repeat what we just did? Because you've done that once. You don't know crap about it. That goes into the 10,000 hour rule. It's like, do it over and over and over and over again. Then it becomes just a part of who you are. And then it's actually a deeper kind of knowledge rather than, hey, I learned this thing once. Cool. Did it do anything for you?
Yeah.
That's also part of the way I see you look for patterns across all these books, whether it's a Charles Dickens book or it's Malcolm Gladwell or it's a self-help book. It's like there's patterns in all of these. And if you're exposing yourself to them, exposing them to you, to expose yourself to others, that's what I'm looking for. Then it suddenly becomes like, it sinks in.
Yeah.
I think I cut you off, Matt.
We need to vote.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. I guess so. Spaceman, go read the book. If you haven't read any Malcolm Gladwell books, listen to him because his newest books, like Talking to Strangers,
he's written them.
He writes them as audio.
More
books.
audio, yeah.
He wants you. He'll tell you with Talking to Strangers, like you should listen to this.
Yeah, I think the first one he did it with was Bomber's Mafia.
Well, Talking to Strangers came first, and Bomber Mafia came second.
Oh, did it?
But Bomber Mafia is the same thing. He wants it to be. He loves audio because he wants you to buy his Pushkin audio app
subscription. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so Matt's going to now give us some options for books, and we'll pause for audience vote.
Text us.
I'm tallying the votes.
Late.
Even though, we will have decided in 3 minutes.
Yeah. So the first one is Collective Illusions.
Illusions, Dad. You don't have time for my illusions.
It's Collective Illusions, Conformity, Complicity, and the Science of Why We Make Bad Decisions. And the second one is The Buddy System, A Modern Man's Guide to Mastering Friendship and Leveling Up Your Life.
Ooh, that's tough for me. Mike?
I really like both of them.
I haven't read the second one. I've read the first one. That's really good.
I was going to say, I'm intrigued by the second one. Probably just because, I don't know, like male friendships have been on my mind a lot lately. And so I think I like that one. So that would probably be my vote. But both of them sound pretty equally.
I think my vote is also the second one because it's a nice kind of shift back into maybe like we go back into like, hey, here's some practical things to go do to improve this specific thing in your life. I mean, I already know what my book will be, and I think it's going to be for the next time after that. But and I think it'll be kind of in the same vein. But so let's do the second book, the Mastering Manliness.
It's called The Buddy System, A Modern Man's Guide to Mastering Friendship and Leveling Up Your Life by Matt Ritter and Aaron Caro.
Matt Ritter. Did we read something by Matt Ritter before?
He's got an Instagram on like how to make friends as adults. And but he or no, maybe it wasn't his stuff. I saw recently there's kind of like a growing national-ish movement for dudes meeting up at Costco for pizza and hot dogs. Just hanging out. Yeah. And just getting to know each other. So, yeah.
Huh. Kind of like that. All right.
I think
I
that
downloaded
led me down another rabbit hole where I saw this guy take a Costco slice, rip off all the cheese, put the hot dog on the slice, and then eat that. I was like, I don't know if that's brilliant or disgusting.
Yeah.
It's only an audiobook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
And I think it's free.
It is, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got it.
And this is probably their first book, so it might blow.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I guess. I don't want to spoil anything, but next time when it's my turn, just so we can all remember. Have you guys read 10% Happier?
No.
You have, Matt?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's what it's going to be.
Good. Before we watch it or read it, we got to watch his panic attack on TV. It's freaking.
I did watch it.
It's horrible.
And actually, it's another one that's really good to listen to.
What's the name of this book?
Which one?
The one that you're wanting to do?
Me? 10% Happier.
For next time.
That'll be in like January.
So I was going to say, listeners, like, get on this one because we're starting a new year, and maybe one of your resolutions can be a friend.
Yeah, that's good. Good job, Matt.
Is that by Dan Harris?
Yeah, and that's another one, just so you know, it would be good to listen to because he reads it. And he's got just, I shouldn't spoil some of this. It's not a spoiler, but he has some of the best writing. At some point he refers to that book, The Secret, where it's like you put something out in the universe and it comes back to you. He calls it canonical turd. And then he refers to, he calls something, refers to something as gale force inanity, which is like, oh my gosh, I love this guy so much.
Side note, he's got a really good interview on his podcast with Kristen Neff, the self-compassion. Remember that workshop?
Yeah. Oh, that's
close your eyes and touch yourself compassionately. We're like, what is going on here?
I'm out.
She does he asks her, like, what does this look like for guys? Like, this feels very like a very feminine way of relating to yourself. So that's another good little nugget from him, but
we'll get to that later though. So Spacemen, for now, if you haven't read The Tipping Point, go read it, or read any of Malcolm Gladwell's books, or listen to his podcast, Revisionist History, because even if you don't agree with Malcolm Gladwell, he does have a way of writing things and framing things to help you think differently, which I think is one of the most valuable things about him, because when it comes to like your relationship or improvement of self, I think being able to see things from different perspectives is one of the most valuable assets you can gain in the process of trying to improve. And then, I guess, come back and catch us next time on the Manspace. Or Marley and Marley. Whoa.